Okay, so you're listening to You Can Fix That in Post with Elysse, Simon, and Dave. And this is part 2 of our Alien franchise share.
So we're going to focus primarily on the Prometheus films and touch on the steaming
Alien
pile of God knows what that
they are not
Alien
steaming
versus Predator.
Hey, Alien vs. Predator had some redeeming qualities.
The fact that you have to call them redeeming qualities pretty much speaks to how bad those
There's
films
lots
are.
of films that don't have redeeming qualities.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so Prometheus. What do you think, Elysse? Was it necessary?
Well, to call it necessary, I don't think is the right word. If you think of it as necessary, then well, it didn't achieve what it set out to achieve because it required a sequel.
Yeah, but if Ridley Scott was always intending to have multiple sequels, which I think he was, then it's a different kind of thing. Like, he was always going to do more than one Prometheus.
Really?
Yeah, and he wanted to do more than the amount that he's...
What if it had tanked, though?
Then I think he still would have had the intention of, this is what I want to be made to explain the story of Space Junkie and all the other kind of stuff.
Right.
But it would have been, it's tanked, so we'll just reboot it later, or we'll get Sigourney again.
Sigourney can fix this.
Yeah, she can fix anything
She
in
can
post.
fix anything, yeah. What do I think of it? The first time I saw it, I think I walked out of the cinema just going, well, that was a waste of 2.5 hours. Like, it felt like it was took itself way too seriously, but in a bad way. Not in, like, if we say that Alien took itself seriously, it took itself seriously and it felt like it paid off.
Took itself seriously, and it wasn't, say, a huge, resounding themes and stuff like that. It took itself seriously, and it was a scary monster movie in space. Well, this took itself seriously, and it tried to explain the creation of our species and all these other things.
Yeah, and the death of God, basically.
Yeah.
It took itself seriously with themes that probably are way too serious for a monster movie.
So what you're saying is it was pretty indulgent on the behalf of the director. It's like, let's jerk off Ridley Scott.
It was a bit of a navel gazer. Let's call it that.
It had nipples in it. Is that what a navel is? I don't know.
No, like your belly button.
Oh.
Like it was just staring deeply into its own belly button.
Now I can think of all the times where I've made stupid comments about navels and nipples. And...
They are different things.
No wonder I don't have a boyfriend. Okay. Okay, so let's go through the specifics of Prometheus then, okay? You have the opening shot whereby you're looking at this guy who's committing suicide, but in the process he is creating the human species. So that's what it's kind of...
The sacrifice to create life.
Yeah,
it looked like a sacrifice, but I didn't pick up on the whole DNA thing and human thing until, I guess, after you explained it to me.
Yeah, when I went, oh, look, there's the DNA code, and it's adding stuff and all the other kind of stuff. And to be perfectly honest, while that's kind of been implied and explicitly talked about by the director, it's not blatant. As in, like, if someone said to me, oh, that was a different planet, and in part 3, we can see this other planet, and it's created another race of human, like, do you know what I mean? We just assume. And it's an educated assumption. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't come up with a little bracket down the bottom saying Earth 30,000 years ago. Here's my issue with Prometheus. It looks very pretty. It looks like...
Doesn't it look gorgeous?
Yeah. There are so many films these days where, based on CG and casting and all that stuff, you have great acting, you have great sets and epic, scenes, but the story lets it down.
The shot of the ship Prometheus coming through the atmosphere of the engineer's planet with this, like, the tail, like, pulling the cloud with it and stuff, and it's over these huge big mountains. It's amazing. It's beautiful, and it doesn't look like Uncanny Valley, like, fakey looking. It looks real, and it looks majestic.
Yeah. And you watch these films and you go, this looks amazing. But then afterwards you're just kind of like, well, I could have just stared at a painting for 2 hours.
Yeah, if you're not if you're not attached to the characters at all and you're not engaged in the story, then yeah, it can look as beautiful as you like, but it's you're not in the movie, are you?
Or if the characters just have unrealistic, stupid changes in motivation, like, oh, we believe it's an invitation to see our creators. And it's like, okay, cool. And then, half an hour later, we think they're out to destroy us and all that other stuff. What are you basing that on? You haven't really talked to them. You haven't seen them. You're just going through this kind of mausoleum of, like, their potential planet CDC, going, oh, they've created this biological thing and it's going to kill us all.
And now they want to hurt us and they're going to kill us all. Yeah, there was absolutely no basis for a lot of the assumptions made by characters in the film.
Yeah. But it looks very pretty. Like, if you said to me, oh, I'm going to see this weird horseshoe-shaped ship rolling over these two people, or I'd go, that looks awesome. It's ridiculous. That people would be running...
Run sideways!
Yeah, exactly. It looks pretty, but the character actually...
Charlize, what are you doing?
Running in the shadow of the thing, you're just like, this is ridiculous, but it looks pretty.
They're supposed to be like the two smartest people in the ship as well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of dumb decisions, I think, in that movie. As in, like, from the characters in the movies.
The biologist that's like, oh, let's touch the giant snake-looking thing.
Which I can understand in some ways, because if you are a biologist, you have an advanced knowledge of species, and maybe you kind of go, oh, I can alter my behavior, and I don't feel...
A giant cobra snake with a vagina face? Yeah?
You don't know it's got a vagina face. It starts off with an anus face. And then it opens up. I cannot forgive the Scottish guy who is a cynic throughout the entire thing, who's just doing it for the money. And then what happens is, he's the guy in charge of mapping the entire space, and he goes, this is freaky, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave before anyone else.
And yet, get lost.
Get lost, and you're the mapping guy, who's got these little kind of, his pups who are going around charting stuff. And you're just like, what? You left before them, you're the guy in charge of mapping, and you're a geologist, and you got lost.
Yeah.
And then Idris Elba says to them, just sit tight for the night, we'll come back the next day. And they go, no, we're just going to wander around. We just want to wander around a bit.
Yeah.
What's this thing beeping?
Yeah. Bad decisions.
Well,
and
bad
completely
decisions.
Out of character.
Yeah, out of character, bad decisions, unjustifiable. Like,
how much was the ship? Like trillions of dollars or whatever, and the mission and all that, and how long it would have taken, and they've got these incompetent people.
To be perfectly honest, it seems like a running theme with the Prometheus series that it looks pretty, but a lot of these people make decisions that...
It's just bad writing. That's what it comes down to.
Mm.
It's just really poor writing.
I look at Alien Covenant and I go, yep, it's a colony ship, but you've got the key roles of the crew as couples. So I can't... People can go, oh yeah, of course they're couples, so that more people can screw and pollinate the,
Pollinate!
They can populate the planet, but...
Little bees pollinating.
But it doesn't make sense in terms of you've got how many thousands of embryos and people on cold storage and all that stuff, but you're going to put the people in charge of the entire ship and its ability to get to, from A to B, and you're going to go, hey, I'm, Danny McBride, and my wife's on the planet, so I'm going to put the ship in jeopardy by moving closer. It's just like, this is exactly why you wouldn't have couples in those key roles.
You have, single people that are not attached to any other member of the crew whatsoever.
Alternatively, you go, we have these single people, but their couples are on ice, so they're going to do the best they can to keep the ship in...
That's a good point, yeah.
But no, it's just like, my wife's down there. I'm going to go and, it's just ridiculous. Mm. And I guess when I look at Prometheus and Alien Covenant, I think I really like going back to that universe. Like, from those two films, it had been, like, years since... Like, there'd been Alien Resurrection, there'd been Alien vs. Predator, which is obviously a separate thing. But the idea of going, Ridley Scott's back, and we're going to have a huge-ass budget, and we're going to accomplish these things like how did the aliens come to be? And then we're watching these morons making moronic decisions out of character that drive the story, but not logically. I particularly dislike, and this is going to sound like the weirdest anti-feminist thing ever, which doesn't, I'm all about the feminism.
You up for a fight, mate?
No, I'm not. The issue being that Sigourney Weaver's character in the first 4 films, empowering women, you don't have to be, running away from the giant monster thing. You can kick the shit out of it. Now, you've done that in Prometheus with, what's her face?
Noomi Rapace. I'm not totally sure how to pronounce her surname.
What was the character's name?
Elizabeth Shaw.
Yeah, Elizabeth Shaw. Okay. And now in Alien Covenant, you've got the next one taking over whose husband's died and she's now kicking the crap out of the aliens.
Yeah.
And then you've got in Alien vs. Predator, the chick who's like the expedition guide who's kicking the crap out of it.
Yeah,
and
she
then,
was kind of awesome, actually. She was one of the few good things I liked about that film.
I like the entire film. And then in Alien Requiem, you've got this chick who's an army vet who her husband is looking after the child and then he dies. Spoiler alert. Actually played by the guy from True Blood. The guy who owns the bar.
Yes, Sam Trammell.
Yeah, so his wife is an army person who's coming back and the kid doesn't really know her that well because she's been deployed overseas for however long. And then the husband dies and she's looking after the kid while aliens and shit is all going around. And you're just like, in every one of these iterations of the story and this character, you always have to have this strong
female lead.
Kick-ass female lead. Mm-hmm. And I don't have a problem with that, but when it becomes beyond cliche and just formulaic, you're just like, you do know that guys can kick the shit out of,
Not all men. Hashtag not all men.
Yeah. Oh, not kick the shit out of the wives. I'm saying kick the shit out of the aliens. Don't quote me on that one. Yeah.
It's what you expect with an alien film, though. It's what people have come to expect. Like, okay, it's an alien film. There's going to be some stuff bursting out of chests, and there's going to be a kick-ass woman.
I think that's
some aliens.
I think that's only expected because Ellen Ripley's in the first 4.
Yeah, when she wasn't in the other ones, I wasn't expecting it. It's not until you actually brought it up that I realised there was a strong female in the other ones as well.
I don't have a problem with, a mix-up. As in, when you look at Prometheus, you look at Alien Covenant, you look at Alien vs. Predator, Alien vs. Predator 2, I don't mind a 50-50 split. I don't even mind, say, a 3 to 1 ratio, that kind of stuff. But when you're basically having it in every film, you're just like, what? Men are competent too. They can do things. We can kill things. We've been doing it all the time.
It's what I like about the alien films, though. The fact that it does kind of subvert the genre and puts the women in the place of saying, no, these guys are wrong, and if you do this, this will happen. Fine, I'll pick up the machine gun and I'll kill the alien myself.
See, my thing is, it was good when it was subverting the genre. When it becomes the expectation, that is no longer. It is actually playing to everyone's expectations to a point in which it's just like, yeah, we'll just accept it. The next one, Prometheus Part 3, there's going to be a chick, she's going to kick the shit out of the aliens, and the guys will all be stupid.
Not necessarily stupid. Like, Aliens had Michael Bain? Again, I'm bad with the pronunciation of surnames. Yeah. He wasn't an idiot.
No, yeah, but that's the second one in the series with Ripley.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And he survived till the end.
Yes.
And then was killed off screen and,
Yeah, but,
wasted.
But Ripley's been the focus, I guess.
Yeah. I'm talking about Prometheus, Alien Covenant, and then,
One could say that Michael Fassbender's character of David is really the main character
I would say,
of
agree.
the new Prometheus films.
That's
he's the carryover.
I would say he is an ongoing, say, villain. But if you said to me he's the hero of the film, I'd go, no, he's not. The one who's on the giant space loader.
I wouldn't say the hero. I would say the main character. The main character doesn't have to be the hero.
Now we can bring up this thing about Fassbender. I have major issues with the idea of he has killed Walter and he has cut off his own hand. He's got scratches on his face. He's had a nail through his chin. And yet he is able to come aboard the spaceship at the end of Alien Covenant and go, "Oh, I'm just Walter." Nope. Now that you're in your hypersleep, I'm actually David and I'm doing bad things. It would have been a much better ending had Walter been the guy who goes, "Hey, I've got orders from the company. So I am still going to put these alien embryos in the drawer for deep freeze on the colonizing planet." But, like, I don't think anyone saw that film and didn't think in the last 40 minutes, "Hey,
that's totally the other guy."
yeah,
That's the bad guy.
Yeah. And
Red flag here.
It would have been good to have something against the grain, something that you kind of go, "Oh, I didn't see that," but also would make sense in terms of the motivation of the company, the previous history of androids who have kind of gone, "Oh, fuck the crew, we've got to get this tech to."
Yeah. Answering to the company and the company only.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, as far as twists go, it wasn't a very twisty one.
No.
I mean, they even left it at the scene where it goes, maybe this is going to happen. Like they showed the knife and the rock, and didn't even leave it.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan. M. Night Shyamalan would not be impressed with that twist.
No. He eats twists like that for breakfast.
You eat pieces of twists for breakfast?
Well,
Yeah.
The idea of every android's a bad guy, that's not being present. Winona Ryder was a good guy. Michael Fassbender as David is a bad guy. Ian Holm is a bad guy. Lance Henriksen is a good guy. Like, they haven't felt the need to go...
Up. Yeah.
It's not like in the second one they went, "Hey, it's a droid, so we'll make it
So
bad."
therefore he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Well, Ripley is expecting him to turn on her. Like, she has this really shaky relationship with him because she is just expecting that he's gonna
Turn on
hurt her, basically. Yeah.
Hurt her, turn on everyone, do the bidding of the company, and that scene specifically starts with him doing his famous stabby knife thing with Bill Paxton, and then him
Which is
bleeding.
such a good scene.
Yeah. And
so good.
Everyone in high school since did that with like a pen. Going, "Oh, look at me, I'm so good." But then she's like, "You never told me there was a synthetic on board." And Paul Reiser's just like, "It's the stock standard thing." And then he realizes, oh, the history, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And it's not till the end of Aliens whereby he basically has redeemed her trust by showing up and picking them up and going, "That platform was unstable, Ripley, so I had to, circle around and come back again." And then she's like, "You're okay, Bishop. You're cool in my book."
And then ripped in half.
Yeah. And then Alien 3 is just like, "Oh, it's a bit sad that you're ripped in half."
I find it interesting that in Prometheus, a few characters treat David very differently because he is
Synthetic?
Like the way that, the way Holloway, he calls him boy and is like quite demeaning to him.
But that, in my opinion, makes sense in terms of the timeline because he's just been, created. It's not like we're hundreds of years into the future where synthetics have been, amalgamated into us and we are very much aware of them and all that kind of stuff. It's like, yep, David's probably one of his first of his kind and we're just treating him like a robot, and then it's not till, say... they have redeeming qualities and they do shit that you're like, "Oh yeah, he is one of us."
It kind of it mirrors though the whole creation theme that is so prevalent throughout Prometheus. You kind of bashed over the head with it. The whole, we were created by these things, and then we created
these
the
things.
Synthetics, and they treat us the way we treat our creation,
and then they create aliens.
Yeah.
So it's like, how much creation can you do?
It also leads to the creation versus destruction theme throughout the whole Alien franchise. That creation comes from destruction. Like, to birth the alien, the humans are destroyed, they're killed, and to create something new.
Yeah, it's like destruction leads to creation and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's an endless cycle.
Now, I have one issue whereby people online are talking about the idea that, and Ridley Scott in his infinite wisdom has decided to say, yes, of course that's true, where they've gone, hey, there are synthetics in Blade Runner. Is that part of the universe? And he's gone, yes, of course it is.
Sure it is.
And
there will be no ramifications for saying yes to this.
so they've done this whole timeline of, Blade Runner takes place here, and this is Weyland Yutani making these synthetics, and, the synthetics have their rebellion, and then they're hunted down in Blade Runner, and it's just very much like,
Why?
You just want to jerk off over Ridley Scott's creations and go, yes, Ridley Scott's awesome. They're all joined.
Yeah, it seems problematic to link those two together.
Well, I mean, we know the end story as it exists at the moment is that AI's got to a point where they were so emotional that Winona Ryder basically burns her modem or whatever it is, and everyone's anti-android because they came so far, and she rebelled against the company that made them. So it seems like that kind of story comes full circle with the androids.
Yeah. Whereas, the earlier ones basically have no emotions. Like, Ash is quite robotic in his interactions with other people.
Well, yeah, but Ash is robotic in his... But he's not the first. David's the first. Right. David's too emotional, so they make Walter. Walter is very straight line. I'm just a robot. Admittedly, though, there are deviations of that. He's like, you love her. And he's like, yeah, I don't think I can feel love. And then after that, you have Ash, who is a bit crazy, but, pretty much a robot. And then after that, you have Lance Henriksen, who's also a robot, who's, like, nice enough guy. And then you get to this point where Winona Ryder's like, I have emotions. So it's like, emotions were David, and David was bad, so we have no emotions, and then it ends...
That was bad.
Yeah, so then we go back to the start, where it's like, Winona Ryder, she's got emotions. That's good. But there will be no more.
Yeah.
And it's just a giant metaphor for jerking off and creation.
Yeah.
We've created these androids. We've created these aliens. The aliens created us.
Yeah. And everybody has daddy issues.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that you're talking about ships called Mother and Father and all the other kind of stuff, it's like...
And David's massive...
penis?
Father issues. He's obsessed with his father and... Yeah.
Well, yeah, because his father's a massive disappointment. It's like, what? You created me? But you're
old and gross.
And you're Guy Pearce. Weren't you in the time machine? Ew.
Weren't you on Neighbours?
Yeah.
No judgment.
No, I mean, you look at Neighbours, millions of people being from Neighbours. Okay, so let's talk about the other elephant in the room. Let's pull our resources. We've got an alien, we've got a predator, and we're going to have them fight because it'll gross loads of money, and we'll have no known actors really in it, except for Lance Henriksen, but that's about it. So the reason why James Cameron and Ridley Scott walked away from the series was because they went, you're having Frankenstein versus Dracula. This isn't good. Mm-hmm. Admittedly, James Cameron, after the fact, had said, you know what, this actually wasn't a bad film. In spite of what Elysse says. That's what his specific quote was.
I thought it was stupid.
There's loads of stupid films that are still entertaining.
Oh, look, I never said it wasn't entertaining. I watched the whole thing. I didn't sit there on my phone, like, looking at Facebook. I engaged in film. At the end of it, like, my partner Greg is obsessed with B-grade terrible films, and he is just sitting there just like, this is the best thing ever, and I'm just like...
It is the best thing ever.
This is dumb. What did I like about it? I liked the lead character. I thought she was fun. She was kind of a Ripley light in that she's the one going, hey, this is really dangerous. Everybody needs training. Everybody needs to follow the rules. And everyone says, no, we're going to do whatever we want. And she's like, okay, but you're going to die. And then they do.
But admittedly, this is what I like about the whole subverting of, the female... kick-ass, hero, she's black. And
true, yeah.
I really like that because in the series,
it is a very white series.
It's very white, but everyone seems to be like,
Not so much Prometheus. Prometheus has got a bit of a mix.
yeah, but I feel like they've, like, people of a certain race.
Idris Elba.
Yeah, but even so,
I
it's...
love Idris Elba.
Yeah, I love Idris Elba, but they're putting, anyone of colour, anyone of any different background in the background. It's like, yep, you can be this character, which means very little, that has limited lines, and everyone else has to be
And
white.
you're probably going to be one of the first ones to die.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, thank you for bringing up pictures of Idris Elba. That's nice of you.
well,
He's
I mean,
so pretty.
here's the thing. I like Idris Elba for the next Bond, even though he's getting much, much older. If not,
I'd watch it.
if not him, Chiwetel.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah, so just to throw this out there, and we'll have a James Bond episode.
Because Tom Hiddleston is 100% the wrong choice. Like, just laying it out there, 100% the wrong choice.
I have no problem with Tom Hiddleston.
No, he can't do dickish. He can't do dickish. James Bond is a dick. Everybody knows that.
What do you mean he can do dickish? He's
He
a dickish in
can't.
all the Loki stuff.
No, but lovable dickish. He's got to be like, you got to like go, oh, he's so gross, but I'd screw him anyway.
Yeah, I have no problem with that thing with Tom
Yeah, I
Hiddleston.
don't think he can pull that off.
My major problem with Tom Hiddleston's, and we're on a bit of a side
We're
note,
on a real tangent here, but we'll
but
come
his
back
qualification was he didn't look like he could kick the crap out of people.
No.
And then when I saw Skull Island, I went, oh, he looks like he can handle himself. And to be fair, Roger Moore was very much like, oh, I'm an upright British citizen. But he basically proved he can beat the crap out of people.
Yeah.
So the idea of Idris Elba as Bond is the idea of, well, Bond's always been white. Yeah, but... So they're talking about...
The Doctor's always been a man.
Yeah. The idea of Bond being black is that Bond is actually not a character. He's a code word. So...
Oh, interesting.
Instead of being, oh, this is the one character throughout the entire thing, it's like, no, when you work for MI6, you have a code name. It's James Bond.
As well as a code number.
Yes.
Right.
So...
I say Gillian Anderson. Gillian Anderson for Bond. Make it a woman.
Well, Gillian Anderson is amazing. And probably a bit too old to kick the crap out of people. Anyway, now
Maybe.
let's go back to Prometheus, where Idris Elba
Anyway.
is very much a prominent role. I mean,
Yes.
and he also plays a heroic role where he's
Yeah.
basically ramming the ship into another ship. However, my
Yeah.
problem is, you're going across the galaxy to meet an alien race, and you go, this ship isn't designed to fight anything. And you're just like... Really?
Really?
You
didn't bring guns?
You didn't bring anything?
That
No.
seems like a mistake.
Yeah. Even just any kind of, ooh, pew pew. What have you got? We've got a machine gun. That's what we got.
We have a flamethrower. Just send Charlie's out with the flamethrower.
Yeah.
And the ship doesn't even put like a dent on the...
Yeah, it stops the giant horseshoe from flying, and it crashes, but it just then goes, well, now that we can't fly, we're just going to roll around and hit people.
Just squash people.
Yeah.
Yep.
So back to things that are bad about Alien vs Predator.
We got a little lost there. Idris Elba just distracted me. Back to
As
things
he
that are
does.
bad. The special effects, I think they had a very limited budget comparison to the other films.
They did, but it also takes place in a time where CGI is not as good as it is in Prometheus.
Oh, yeah. The CGI is pretty fucking awful, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
but if you can do a comparison to Alien Resurrection, the CGI in Alien vs. Predator is better than Alien Resurrection, and the CGI in Alien Resurrection is better than Alien 3, because when you look at the Alien in Alien 3, you're just like, oh,
yeah.
look, it's a
Yeah.
shiny object. And
Yeah.
yeah,
not
so I
great.
mean, you have to forgive CGI. I mean, otherwise there's going to be a whole bunch of films out there where you're just like, oh,
It's
Deep Blue
completely
Sea.
unwatchable now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you should have to forgive CGI because you should use it to the degree that it actually works. And if it's not at a time where it doesn't work that well, don't
That's a
use
good
it as
point.
much.
I mean, Jurassic Park stands up, doesn't it?
Yeah, like, that was good.
Does it?
Yes,
You
it
see,
does.
I think it stands up because the parts where it stands up, they used actual animatronics.
Puppets?
That's exactly the point.
Exactly. There
Yes.
should be as much practical work as you can. Like,
If
does
you
it
need a
not
puppet,
cost
use a
more to
puppet.
do CGI than it does
But what
to do...
I would say is when you look at Jurassic Park, there are points where they didn't use puppets where I can go, yep, that's CG, that's CG, that's CG, it looks fake, it looks fake.
Interesting.
Now,
Disagree.
well,
I'd
then
have to
I'd
watch
say
it again
rewatch
recently.
Jurassic
More-
Park.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do tonight.
And my problem then is if you said to, oh, we're going to not do CG, yep, then there'd be a whole lot of films that wouldn't exist because they would never have got the budget to make the animatronics.
Are you saying that Avatar would not exist? Because I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Well, that's a different time period. I'm saying if Dave says you can only do CGI as good so that people can't tell that it's CGI, then I'd say you may as well write off about 90% of the films from 1993 to 2004.
Right, so you're saying it's a necessary evil to make it possible.
I'm saying it was a transitional technology,
yeah.
and you have to view it as, oh, that was the best it was at the time. If you watch a film in the 1960s and go, I can tell that's, a car driving to a back screen, you go, yeah, but they were doing the best they could with the technology they had.
Right, so they knew it was tellable, but they did it anyway, I guess. That's the best they could do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, back to Alien vs. Predator. Now, here's the thing. I like going into culture of things. As in, like, when you look at what's introduced in Alien vs. Predator, they posit this story of, ancient Egyptians sacrificed themselves to create the aliens that the Predators would hunt. But there's also different weapons that the Predators introduce in that film that aren't seen in Predator 1, Predator 2. Likewise, there's different ideas of that haven't been explored that much in the Alien series. The idea of, if you impregnate a different species with an alien embryo, the alien that's created is different.
Yeah.
That is only shown in Alien 3, where it's either a bull or it's a dog, and it has different characteristics. In every other one, it's all about, these aliens all are from humanoids, thereabouts, and they all look like humanoids. In Alien vs. Predator, it ends with, spoiler alert, a predator getting impregnated with an alien embryo. And it looks like a hybrid of alien and predator. Now, that's something that was explored in Alien 3, but nowhere out the series.
Prometheus, it was sort of explained, I guess, or shown as well, in the early stages. Like, you could see there were
differences that David had been experimenting, and that's why it looks weird. And it's only, when you have the end result with humanoids, do you get the classic alien look.
Yeah.
And did you notice that he was messing with bees as well, hence the queen alien, maybe?
Yeah. And you've got the eggs and all that kind of stuff, and he'd basically taken all the kind of fauna from that planet and mixed it up with the biological crap that he'd got from the alien race that he had destroyed on arrival.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I really just want to point out another bad thing about Alien vs. Predator is at the very end, an alien gets onto the Predator ship. Like, how? Because it's inside the Predator, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're scanning constantly the humans, who's got aliens inside them. How do they not scan this one body that has an alien inside it? Like, obviously, it's so otherwise the second movie couldn't be made, but like, how does an advanced race like that miss something like that?
Maybe because that body is dead.
Yes.
It's a corpse.
Right. So it wasn't killed by the...
Well, maybe it's like, hey, when Phil's walking around going, I feel a bit dodgy, might have an alien in me, they're like, oh, maybe we should scan him.
Yeah.
But when Phil's dead and no one's talking to Phil, and Phil has an alien inside of him, do you know what I mean?
They just wouldn't assume.
I love that this alien's name is Phil.
And to be fair, the Predators don't have advanced scanning. Throughout the films, they've got infrared and they've got some other stuff. I have never seen any kind...
No, I meant the infrared and stuff. X-ray or whatever it is.
Thing where they scan the Bishop guy and he's got all the cancer in his lungs.
Which is X-ray, I guess.
Yeah.
X-ray would bring up the alien.
But did no one have the mask on the ship because they weren't in battle mode?
Well, in saying that, I mean, the major dude who gives her the pistol at the end doesn't have a mask on.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
He's just looking at his dead son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess, even human ships have the sensors to say, alien life form on floor, whatever. But...
Did you fart again?
I did.
You're just going to blow right past that, weren't you?
I'm just like, did he move his feet? No. I'm just like, is he on a leather couch? No.
Yeah, so that's that section.
You're right, but there are a lot more problems in all of the films if you went by logic.
Yeah. It's kind of like the CG thing, maybe like a necessary evil sort of Like,
There needs to be the
it has to be,
occasional
yeah.
plot hole.
Without it, there'd be no movie. I just like in other movies, like the original, like Alien, the mistakes were believable. Like, you know, there's an alien organism on someone's face. Ripley's like, we're not letting it into my ship. And then, you know, the android says, no, too bad, we're letting it in. Which makes sense because it's
The android's
programmed.
motivated
Yeah.
to get the alien intel.
and even
but
if it was a human, it would be believable because of, you know, emotions.
They're
and
letting
stuff.
someone die.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially. Yeah.
So what you're saying is it's unbelievable because predators have no emotion whatsoever. That the predator father can't be going, oh, I'm grieving for my predator son. Hell, I'm bringing the body aboard the ship, so what's that to imply?
No. That's fine. But scan the body first before putting it into your ship. Like, I'm surprised that they know that these people are fighting aliens. And
Yeah, that's
they
the whole
don't-
purpose of
Yeah,
them
yeah.
being there.
And
was
this guy's
to have
dead.
the battle, yeah.
You know, really, these people only die by either exploding themselves or getting killed by aliens. And this guy's dead, and they don't check if he died. He obviously didn't explode, and they didn't check if he died by an alien. Which I don't actually know how he died.
The more you're talking about this, the more you're bringing me on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a plot hole.
So wait, how does he die?
I think he might
He
have
gets
actually...
speared by
yeah,
the,
he got speared.
the
Yeah.
alien's tail.
So that's quite an obvious, cause of death. I would
But
say.
but I guess the
But
cause
he
of death
had
wasn't...
been in like that chamber with the eggs and shit.
Yes, that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
separate. Yeah,
Admittedly, he didn't tell anyone.
Like, hey, by the way, I got face suckered.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he died before he could say
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Maybe he just leaves
They
a little
really
note.
mess with the amount of time it takes to gestate the alien in that movie as well. Did you notice
Well,
that?
to be fair, they
was
do
like
it in
3
all
minutes.
the films. All of the
Yes,
films.
it's different. And they come out different sizes as well, don't they? Or they always come out real small?
They come out small and they always get huge pretty
Real quick.
really
quickly.
quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But okay, well, let's look at it. Kane basically has the thing on his face. As soon as he wakes up, they go out and they have their, food, and then that's the thing. He
has the sucker on his face for ages, though.
That is true.
He has it on his face for like half a day.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, it's like, 20 minutes. Job done.
Yeah.
Roll over and cuddle.
I mean, Aliens, you have a whole bunch of people going, kill me, that kind of crap.
Yeah, for ages.
But if you look at Alien 3, Ripley, in theory, has like an alien inside her throughout the entire
Yeah,
the
she's
entire
fine.
film. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
just
you
like,
can explain that away with like, oh, it's a queen.
so gotta
but-
take extra time.
Yeah, it's still a bit of a plot hole.
Yeah. And
It was slightly different as well, wasn't it? Because it was DNA mixing or something? Or
no, that's
they're all-
Alien Resurrection.
Right. okay.
Alien 3 is, hi, I was in hypersleep and I woke up and I'm pregnant with an alien.
That's right, yeah.
And-
But it's somehow affected her DNA, which was taken as a blood sample, and that's how they were able to recreate.
in Alien
Yeah.
Resurrection.
Yeah, gotcha. Yes, okay.
And
yeah.
likewise, in Alien Resurrection, you've got that poor guy who's like, what's going on? It's just like, yeah, you've got an alien in you. Do you want to hang out with us for a bit? And then he, the alien gives birth or, it, explodes out of his body into the head of the other guy. And it's just like, well, how many hours was that? We'll wander around for a couple of hours and then the alien burst out. I think throughout most of them, there's a pretty inconsistent idea of, oh, it takes this amount of time to gestate.
Yeah.
It takes this amount of gestate. Yeah.
It's, yeah.
They could be consistently at inconsiderate times, I guess. Or
The only thing
In
that's
the movie.
consistent
Is
is that
the
they're
alien
inconsistent.
Well,
inconvenient.
Wow,
not
we've just
inconsiderate.
solved that one.
yeah, but it's also a bit weird because it'd be like, hey, this lady's pregnant, she's giving birth. How long did the baby was inside her? 9 months, thereabouts. Just but with this alien thing, it's like, well, it came out a week later, came out 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the idea of, hey, we've stepped on a weed and the air has gone into our nostrils, and then the nostril, like, psh.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, there was no even intermediate kind of thing. Because David hadn't gotten his claws on eggs yet. He just made weird weeds that
Did he make those weeds?
I would assume so.
Right. I thought it was left by the aliens, the blue
yeah,
dudes.
so did I.
You think that the alien blue dudes who lived in their society just made weeds to hang around so that if people stepped on them, they would get impregnated with aliens?
Yes.
Maybe it was an organic thing that's where they made the goo from.
Yeah, it was designed to like kill all.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
I don't think you
movies
should
are
be
messing with my
confused.
head now.
I personally thought, and I thought it made sense, that David would make booby traps so that if any people were visiting his planet,
Right.
it'd be like, Psh, oh,
Yes.
look, now I've got an alien, and it's a weird one. It's the white, freaky thing.
Right, because it was in Covenant, not in Prometheus. The dust.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, got you. Right. Okay. Yep. That makes sense. Because if David didn't make it, it would have been in Prometheus.
Well, not necessarily. Prometheus
different
was
planet.
a
right.
different planet.
Oh,
and
of course. Yeah. Right, because Covenant was their home planet.
Yes.
Their main
one of
planet.
their
One of
home
the home
planets.
planets, yes.
It could be the home planet. It could be one of many.
Yes.
But regardless, I don't think they would have just had plants that they could just step on and go, Psh,
Yeah, it's-
now I've got,
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
We don't typically have packets of anthrax just thrown about in our fields because it could be bad for the farmers.
Yeah.
Well, no one think of the
We'd keep that in
farmers.
the CDC or
Yeah,
whatever
exactly.
other planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if someone's crazy and a weird android, I could understand them making these biological agents as booby traps to get rid of people and to also make weird aliens.
Right. He was really messed
That
up.
and he's experimenting.
Yeah.
So if
That
he's
makes a lot of
messing
sense.
about with bees, is it?
Oh, yeah. It may be a pollinating thing.
Well, yeah, because he's been on that planet going, I'll mess with anything that I've got. What? I've got bees and I've got plants. Okay.
I'm down to bees. That's all I got left. I've
And then
killed
he's just like,
everything
oh, a
else.
queen thing. That'll be great for later franchises when we've got to make a big one. And you're all like, David, do you think you're being filmed right now?
It's
Are
like,
you hanging out with
Abed.
Jimmy Cameron? Well, to be fair, that's something that happens in the Aliens film.
David and Walter in the morning.
Well, I mean, you think about that Aliens film, that expands on the idea as well. I mean, Alien, you've got no idea how the eggs are made. You've got this giant ship filled with eggs. Who laid the eggs? It's not till Aliens that you actually see there's a queen.
There's a queen.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap that one up. We're gonna put a pin in it until Ridley Scott so chooses to release another Prometheus film.
Or maybe a Neil Blomkamp.
Oh yeah,
We could get
We
Sigourney!
could get Sigourney back. She may be 75, but she'll still kick ass.
Yeah, she will.
Thank you very much for listening to us ramble. And as always, you can fix that in post.